Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. We've got a double header for you, and this time round we've got Wazwulf. And on the first battle, he's in a Somua S35, which is a tier 3 French medium tank, located on the south spawn of Mines, and battle is about to commence. Okay, we're underway. The French made 427 of this tank, and well, between 1936 and 1940, it was actually quite a good tank in many ways because the armour was kind of superior to the Panzer Mark III's. Would you believe it? It's actually quite thick armour, but in some areas it's fairly weak. It only has a 47mm gun, and therefore it's only capable, in this game, of doing 55 alpha and penetrating 66mm of armour, and that goes up to 98mm with the APCR rounds. Now Wazwulf's taking up the east side of the map, and he's waiting for enemy tank. He's nicely angled at the moment, which means that he should be able to deflect enemy shots that come towards him. A lot of the tanks at tier 3, tier 2 have automatic cannons, 20mm cannon and machine guns, and their shells are likely to bounce off so long as you angle yourself well enough. But nobody's turned up yet. Oh, there we go. And he's bounced around from a T70, but he managed to get around into that guy. And another enemy turns up, another T70, and he's having to re-angle himself because that guy has chosen to come around a different way. And if he tries to get alongside, then Wazwulf is going to suffer. So he needs to angle, and yes, now the T70 is starting to pen him. So he's having to back up against the rock face. And unfortunately he's being hit by the other one while he's taking down this guy. And there's his first kill. But he's about to get his second one because this T70 has run a rather silly thing. He's actually allowed Wazwulf to pin him. And now, because Wazwulf's nicely angled, he's able to get shots into him. One more. There you go. 2 kills. But he's lost a third of his hit points in the process. But he can move forward now. And the team seems to be doing rather well. They're 4 tanks ahead of the enemy. Now, when the Germans actually captured all the unused Somua S35s, they actually put them into good use by increasing the amount of armour they had on them and then sent them over to the Eastern Front. So they were actually used in Russia. So you were fairly likely to come across some of these tanks on the Western Front. On the Eastern Front, I should say. Well, he's now coming up on a Panzer S35, which is the German version of this tank. Armed with exactly the same armament, and suddenly he spotted this enemy to his right as well, and he's going after that Sexton 2. I think the Sexton 2 can probably see him, but he's not focusing in this direction, and he's suddenly lost sight of the guy. But he's carrying on firing in that direction with the APCR, so it's going to be rather expensive. And he's lost sight of the Sexton 2 now. Oh, there he is. He should be able to pen the Sexton 2, but unfortunately it looks like he's gone behind the rock. So he's ignoring the Panzer S35 for the moment, and instead he's actually going after another one of his own, a Somua S35, but it's the enemy one, and he's angled well enough that that guy can't pen him, and all he got was around in the tracks. Oh, he finally managed to hit. And he takes the kill on the Somua. And he's now going in through the side of that BT5, who tries to pull away quickly. He's firing standard AP now, but he took him around from the Sexton. And he can't afford to lose too many hit points because otherwise he will die, because yes, he's low already after the T70 encounter. So he's now having to get rid of that Sexton as quickly as he can. Oh! He lost his driver, and he's still lost his driver. Needs to get the driver back in. Come on, get the driver back in. Oh, the Panzer S35 comes into sight, but he can't get the kill. And there's only one enemy left. It's the Panzer T15. The Sexton's been killed. So all he's got is that one now. He's just going to sit here and aim. Oh, he got the kill shot! So 4 kills for Wazwulf in the Somua S35, the tier 3 French medium tank. Yes, that Sexton really did hit him bad. And here is the second battle. You're looking at the AMX 40, which was in fact designed to be the replacement for the Somua S35 and the Somua 40. But it never got built. It was designed around 1940 after the fall of France and never got put into production. Now, like the other 2 tanks, it starts off with a 47mm gun, but you eventually end up with a 75mm gun. And of course the AMX 40 is also known as the Duck because of the curved armour, and that curved armour actually throws off enemy shells. It's 70mm at the front, 60 at the sides, 40 at the rear. Pretty strong, but it's very, very slow because it's got quite a lot of armour, and well, the power isn't that great. But the armour's shaped in such a way as that if ever round hits it, it'll literally just bounce off the armour. And he spotted an enemy tank. It's a BT7. Now it's a tier 5 game, and he's a tier 4 French light tank. Not a medium, a light tank. So he's got light tank capabilities in terms of the fact that he's got his camo even when he's on the move. Same camo, same effect. And now he's got a Lux ahead of him, and yeah, that guy's got an automatic cannon which can penetrate this armour. And in fact, actually, he's lost 122 hit points to the Lux, but the Lux is under reload. But that guy is a severe danger to Wazwulf. And he fired APCR rounds at us as well. So he emptied his clip of APCR 30mm rounds. And that cost him quite a lot. 6 rounds hit him, 30 hit points each, was it? Not 6 rounds. No, not quite 6 rounds. I think actually he had 4 rounds hit him, but they did a lot of damage. And here comes the BT7. He's easily able to get through that guy with a 75mm gun. Now he's opting to fire the AP rounds at the moment. You can actually use the HE rounds on this tank, and it actually has surprising results. If you're fighting tier 3, tier 2 tanks, well, tier 3 or tier 4 tanks, the HE rounds will normally go straight through their armour and do huge amounts of damage to them in the process. Well, as you can see, Wazwulf is pushing ahead with the company of a KV-1, so if the enemy tries to ambush him, it's going to get a nasty surprise. And there's that Lux again with his 30mm cannon. In fact, I'm wondering if that's the 20mm cannon rather than the 30mm, but he just fired APCR instead. Fires around at the Excelsior, doesn't get it through. Here comes the Lux again. Oh, he's got the 20mm cannon, not the 30. Just fired APCR, that's all he did. And this is something you don't see all that often. Yes, he's trying to have surprise rear penetration with Excelsior, who turns around and says, "What the hell?" and subsequently dies. And there's the enemy. Duck. Say duck! No, don't get down. Shall we have crispy duck? Well, Wazwulf doesn't want to be the crispy duck. So he's actually aiming at the Chi Nu. He's loading the heat rounds now, and they will do quite a lot of armour. And he's getting quite a lot of success with that Chi Nu. One more shot, and he's gone. Now all he needs to do is do the same to the AMX. But the problem is the angle. Well, that one went into the tracks. Ideally, you need to use the HE rounds. Much easier. He's going for the weak spot, the top of the turret. Yep, he got that. If he can, he'll actually take out the commander if he goes through the cupola. And he got the guy. There's a T1 Heavy just around the corner. Unfortunately, the rock pushes up the turret, but yep, no problem getting through the side armour of the T1 Heavy. No, he's having trouble now because obviously the T1's got his frontal armour towards us. And you might be better off with the HE rounds, as I said, but no, he's pushing up on that rock every time he pushes forward. And now the Excelsior is being a bit of a problem. Trying to go for the weak spot. No, you hit the mantlets. It's a lot easier if you just go for the weak spot, which of course is the driver's hatch. Oh, T1 Heavy's gone. And that looks is just around the corner. He's in the dip, or near the dip. And Panzer 3J, who won't survive very long. He's very low on hit points. I think actually Wazwulf wants to take out that looks. There goes the Panzer 3J. Lock on. Yep, got a nice round into the rear. He's using the HE now. It does work. I can promise you it does work. It's actually quite funny. Look at that, 167 hit points. The armour on the looks is so thin that these rounds will just literally go through, and he's waiting for the guy to pop up so he can blast around, but unfortunately an IKV-103 saw him, and that was the end of his game because he got hit with a 105mm round. At least I think it was a 105, and he didn't have a huge amount of hit points left, but we've capped out to win, so the game is over. It's a victory. I should have mentioned actually it was an encounter game right at the start. I didn't mention that. I should have. Anyway, let's have a look at the end of battle results for the first game. Well, this is the S35 game. You managed to get an ace tanker in that game, and also a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. You managed to get 7. A hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from 4 different enemies. A duelist for taking down 2 tanks that damaged him. A fighter bench for getting at least 4 kills. He got 4 exactly. A fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. And a shell proof for blocking the more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle. But best of all, he picked up a high caliber. He managed to do at least 20% of the enemy hit pool. Get over 1,000 hit points in total. Let's have a look at the team scores. There you go, right at the top of the table, 1,657 hit points went to Wazwulf. He was the only player on his team who managed to get over 1,000, but a member of the enemy team also managed to do the same, and that was the Panzerkampfwagen T15, which was the last enemy to be killed by Wazwulf. He picked up 1,306 hit points. The only 2 players who managed to get over 1,000. Wazwulf, though, picked up the highest number of kills. He got 4. And he also got the highest base XP, 903 from that game. He fired 45 rounds, got 37 direct hits, 32 penetrations, damage of 1,657 hit points, all of it at close range. He actually made a loss because he fired so much APCR during that game. In fact, he started firing the APCR when he was shooting at the T70s, and unfortunately he didn't stop firing after that, and as a result he burned through a huge amount of credits, made a loss of 13,567 credits, but he did pick up 5,420 XP from the game, so at least he got something back in return. And if we look at the second battle, we can see he also got an ace tanker in that one. So 2 French vehicles, he's got ace tankers in now. He also got a bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In this one he managed to get 6. And he got a fire for effect for doing more damage than hit points to his own vehicle. If we look at the team score, we can see that he did get the highest damage on his team, but not the highest damage overall. The Jagdpanzer on the enemy team, the Hetzer, he managed to get 1,460. So despite the fact that he passed the 20% point, he didn't get the high caliber because somebody else had beat him to it and got a higher amount. When it came to kills, again, he only got 2 kills. The Jagdpanzer managed to get 4, even though he lost the game. And when it came to base XP, yes, on that one he did qualify and get the highest. 770, 753 to go to the KV1. And after that, it was the Jagdpanzer who managed to get 483 on the basis, of course, he got the highest damage, and he also got a highest number of kills. In fact, actually, he didn't pick up the high caliber, but of course, he did get the highest damage. Let's have a look at the detail report. 22 shots fired, 19 direct hits, 13 penetrations. Even with the 75mm gun, firing the AP, you're not likely to have a whole lot of success with tier 4 and tier 5 tanks. You're much better off with tier 3 tanks because you will pen those. So you're much better off firing the HE rounds overall because they will do module damage. And if you can knock out more modules such as the gunner, the loader, the ammo rack and things like that on the enemy tank, you can actually disable them, which makes it far easier to kill them. As you can see, he did 1,408 hit points and all of it was at close range. On this game, he actually did fire a fair amount of heat again, and this time round he made a loss of 415 credits because, yes, the heat rounds he fired, he didn't fire that many, but it sort of like counteracted the credits that he received from the game. So only a small loss, 415 credits. He earned 2,310 experience points from the game, so I suppose he got something out of it and wasn't too big a loss. And of course, again, he's got another ace tanker. He says the Mighty Duck roars. Well, at least he wasn't Crispy Duck until the end. And unfortunately, that IKV did manage to get him. But there you go. It sometimes happens. If you stay still long enough, somebody else is going to shoot you. And on that occasion, he stayed still because he wanted to get that looks. But unfortunately, the IKV had him in his sights instead. And that was the end of his game. And it was a pity because they capped out only a few seconds later. So he would have won, he would have been in the game all the way through, right to the end, until of course he was just taken out a few seconds too early. So I hope you enjoyed those that double feature, and if you did, please give the video a like and do subscribe to our channel, leave a comment down below, and thank you for watching.